be talking about settings. Because, you know, your character can't just live in a black hole in space somewhere. Well, who's to say they can't, actually? Well, if any of you can think up some kind of setting for your characters to be in that involves a black hole, then that would be very interesting. I'd love to hear about that. But for now, I'm pretty sure you're going to have some sort of setting that your character will be living in. Anyways, there's no big rules for settings, but here's a few tips I've learned for developing some settings. Number 1. Describe what's unknown or different and unusual or new. So for example, if you're writing a story where your main character is in a school and it's most probably for children, then you wouldn't want to go into too much detail about the school because children know about schools. But is the school different, or does something drastic need to happen to your main character? For example, do they run into something? Well, you need to make sure that that something has been mentioned before and it didn't just pop out of nowhere. So just describe the unusual and not the obvious. But don't overdo this. Sometimes you need to make a point for authenticity. So describe that little extra point and just make your settings a little bit more authentic by doing so. Number 2. The level of description must vary based on the level of importance. So, does this need to happen? Basically, everything in your book has to happen for a reason. So, I like to treat my descriptions and settings with the same level of scrutiny. So, if my character needs to feel nervous about something, then I'm going to reflect this in the setting. So she'll maybe trip over a map that she knows is there, or she'll fumble over the door handle, or something like that. The reason I like to do this is because most readers feel that when you're dwelling on a description, something's about to happen, and then when nothing happens, it's a little bit disappointing. Number 3. Use words that build up the tension or the desired feeling that you want to give your readers. So, if you want your readers to feel tense, use words that are going to build up that tension. Number 4. The weather can have a really big impact on how your character feels. So, it's a good idea to keep a weather diary where you write out the temperatures, what the weather was like on that day, and how you may have felt due to the weather. So, this can help with describing certain temperatures that you need. Or, if your book is set in the same climate that you're living in, then you have a whole year's worth of climate that you can literally use. And it's all documented for you, and you know exactly what the temperatures are like and whether March should be like this or not. And that could be pretty handy should your book be dated. So some books don't always have a time frame, and that's fine. But just in case, it could be helpful for future reference. Maybe it doesn't work for this book, but at least you'll have it for your next book. Sometimes noting things about plants could also be helpful. So, are the roses blooming during this season or not? Is it beautiful because it's all orange and yellow and whatever? I don't know, you come up with it. But noting things about plants can be really helpful for scenery as well, because sometimes you need your characters to be in a meadow or something, and you want to know if those flowers will be blooming during that time of season. You can also research this kind of stuff, but I think it's pretty helpful when you have a whole diary full of it and you don't need to rely on somewhere else to find it, it's just there. So try it out. If you like it, then do continue. Number 5. Use all the senses that you have to describe your settings. So don't just let your readers see what the character sees. Let them hear it, let them feel it, let them touch it, let them taste it if it's possible in that situation. The reason this can be quite helpful is because each sense can bring up some sort of memory. So, for example, if I think about the smell of aniseed, I immediately think of aniseed tea and how my gran used to give it to me whenever I felt sick. So this could be used for your character as well. In the same way that I remember this, your character could be remembering something too. So this immediately triggers what your character strongly associates with that smell. And then your readers will immediately remember that. Well, that's just a few of my tips for settings, and I hope that some of you might use it. So if you like this video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe!